Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a new release from Pat McGrath. She has released the Eye Ecstasy kit, which includes a mini eyeshadow palette, a mini of her brand new mascara, as well as a loose pigment that is hiding behind this label. I'm going to get into all of the products that is included, the price and whatnot, and then I'm going to show you guys this eye look, and at the end I'm going to tell you, do you need this or should you save your money for her original larger palette or one of the minis. So let me go ahead and show you guys what is inside here other than the big mess of sequins. Like, I can appreciate this, like looking at it, it's beautiful, but I'm telling you, just opening this and using it, I tried so hard to keep these sequins in the bag and they still got everywhere. The first item in the bag is this little mini palette here, and I'm going to show you up against one of her mini original palettes so you can see a size comparison. It is truly small, and I originally thought that this was the packaging of the palette, but it's not. It slides out of this little sleeve, and this is what the actual palette looks like. It's just all black, very plain. Again, see, got another sequin. And these are the shades inside. You do get a little mirror, but these are the shades. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the swatches. We have Afterglow, a luminous platinum champagne shade, Paradiso, velvet sienna brown, Liquid Sun, described as a gleaming antique gold, Dark Matter, a creamy blackened gray, La Sin, deep bronze rose metallic, and Amnesia, metallic rose taupe. And then I also swatched right beside that the pigment, which is called Angel Dust. It's a crystalline prismatic pigment. And I'm going to show you a little clip of a video as well so you can see the shift in this shade. And then lastly, we have her Fetish Eyes Mascara. I did not use this on camera. I've already done a review and comparison of this, so I will leave that video linked down below, but I was surprised to see that this has 5 milliliters of product when the larger full size only has 8. So it looks like there would be a huge difference between the two, but really there's not. So the mascara is actually a pretty good deal if you ask me. The entire kit retails for $48, and there's a whole description on here. You know how Pat McGrath does with her description, so I'm just going to skip over that, and we're going to go ahead and get into this look, and then I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and the comparisons right afterwards. To start off the look, I'm using a Zoeva 227 and the shade Paradiso, that matte brown. I'm going on the very outer corner and then blending it upwards and then slightly into the crease. I don't want as much pigmentation in the crease and transition area as I do want on the outer portion of the eye. I just kind of want to make it smoky right on the outer corner. Then on a Wayne Goss 27S, I'm taking the same shade and I'm running it right along the lower lash line, leaving a small little gap right in the front portion of the eye. Now I'm going to go in with the black shade on an Esom S33, and I'm going to pack it on the outer corner and then up into the crease about halfway and just blending and smoking out that outer corner. And then I want to pack on just a little bit more. This is a blackened gray is what they call it. So I want to deepen up that outer V before I go in with my next shade. Now I'm taking Amnesia Dry on an Esom W21. I'm packing that on the center of the lid all the way up to the crease and then lightly over the last shade that we put down to create a nice blend. I wipe off my brush and then right beside that I'm going to put La Sin. I am placing that right on the front portion of the lid, tapping over the last shade we did and bringing it all the way up into the crease. I'm not leaving a large spot on the inner corner for the next shade, but just a little bit of room. I'm gonna wipe off my brush again. You know I'm doing this on my pants. And I'm gonna take the shade Afterglow, and I'm using that as my brow highlight. Now for the inner corner, I'm going in with the Pigment Angel Dust. I am using this wet, and I'm starting on the inner corner, and then I'm bringing it up the front portion of the lid to tap over the last shade that we laid down. And I'm also bringing it right underneath. I kind of have to play with this shade a little bit, and I'm kind of going in with it wet and then dry and then wet and dry, just to get the pigmentation that I want. But it is a little bit messy, so when I'm finished, I'm going in with the Royal Inlay Nickel BOM 430, and I am buffing around the edges and making sure that everything is softened up and I get as much glitter from out underneath my eye. I finished off this look with Boss Milk liner right at the top inner rim and a pair of Kiss Ritzy lashes. So for my thoughts on the palette and the pigment, because I've already told you, I think that the mascara is a really great size. 5 milliliters up against the original 8 milliliters, I think that is phenomenal, really, because I really expected it to be much smaller. But for my thoughts on the palette, I'm going to start there. The palette worked beautifully. It worked just like her other palettes have. The metallics were metallic without having to use them wet. The mattes blended out beautifully. I personally love her matte formula because it doesn't have a lot of pickup. You can take this and just place it down and blend it out, and it's so nice and richly pigmented. You don't have to keep going back in. I will say, do not use something too soft to try to blend out a Pat McGrath matte. A brush like this is the one that I use to go right underneath and blend everything away. While I love this brush, it has its intents and purposes. It's gonna work great for Anastasia matte, which is softer. These are not as soft, like they don't have that pickup, but they are creamy and pigmented and they blend out really well. You're gonna wanna use something that is stiffer, that doesn't have a whole lot of give to it, so that you can really work that product out. I love her mattes. I just absolutely love them. So quality-wise, the pigmentation, everything was here. This is only a gram per shadow, whereas her full size are 2 grams per shadow. Like in this little mini palette right here, which is $55, you're getting 2 grams per shadow, and this is just 1 gram. So I'm going to show you these side by side so you can also see the color differences there. These are pretty tiny, and I'm also going to show it up against the Bronze Ambition palette because it does have that brown shade in there that I feel is pretty similar. I feel like if you have this one here, you really don't need this one unless you just want these 2 shades. But there you go. You can see those side by side. And I just think that for $48, granted you are getting the mascara and the pigment, I would really truly invest in one of her larger palettes just because it's $48 versus $55. And I think that if you already have her palettes, like I have every single one of them, the pigment, let me find it, where did it go? This is beautiful, but it is extremely messy. I found that I did have to use this wet to really get it to stay where I wanted to use it, and I kept having to clean up underneath my eyes, but it is beautiful. Do not get me wrong. This is stunning, and if it was something that I bought alone, I would definitely use it and love it. However, if you have the larger palettes, this one right here is the Mothership 2 Sublime palette. The special shades in there and all of the other ones as well, I feel like work just like the pigments, but just a little easier to work with. You can use these wet or dry, and they have that sparkle and sheen to them, and I feel like they're not quite as messy as the pigment is. So to me, if you already have Pat McGrath, especially if you already have all of them like myself, this is a skip. I wouldn't buy this, and it's not because of quality at all, because I do think that everything that she put in here is great quality. It's because I feel like if you already have all of her palettes, you just don't need this one. If you are new to her and you're wanting to try out the pigments, you're wanting to try out her shadow formula, and you want to try out the mascara, then yeah, okay, maybe go ahead and do that, because you're going to get a great representation of what the shadows are like. You're not going to be able to see the special shadows that are in in only the larger $125 palettes, but you'll get a feel of what it's like to have one of the minis. Now, granted, those come in an array of different shades. That's one thing I can say is I wish that she would have done just a little bit something different with the shades in here. Maybe had a little bit more of a variation from what she has already in her collection, but that's just me being nitpicky. If you're brand new to Pat McGrath and you only are looking at this because you want to try out the shadow formula, you don't care about the mascara and you don't care about the pigment, I would say start off with one of her minis that are $55. The packaging is great. You're getting way more product and you're going to be able to pick out what shades that you want because she has some brighter ones, cool tones, warm tones, just everything. So that's my opinion. I don't think that this is a bad product. I just don't think that is worth it for me as somebody who has all of her palettes. I already own her mascara, and the pigment, while beautiful, I think I can get the same effect with the larger palettes that I have. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys in deciding whether or not you want to pick it up. Let me know what you think about this eye look down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.